practice of Catholicism to be a treasonable and therefore capital offence. The central Christian tenet of love thy neighbour, common to both Catholicism and Protestantism, was all but forgotten as an insidious atmosphere of mutual suspicion and mistrust took hold across the land. The 16th century, the world which greeted Shakespeare, was also notable for being a time of unparalleled discovery and invention, which brought about an unprecedented expansion of horizons, both literally and figuratively. The previous century had seen the discovery of the Americas by Spanish explorers, and the first circumnavigation of the globe by a Portuguese, Ferdinand Magellan. By the time of Shakespeare's birth, the English were striving to emulate the successes of their European counterparts, efforts which would culminate in Sir Francis Drake successfully completing the second circumnavigation of the world on his galleon, the Golden Hind, in 1580. These discoveries and explorations had shattered many long-held certainties, including the belief that we lived in a flat world which was dominated by the European landmass, thus marking a profound shift in mankind's knowledge and understanding of the world. It makes sense that this expansion of human consciousness would not remain confined to the realms of geography and science. It would ultimately spill over into the arts, ushering in a period of hitherto unmatched creativity, which became known as the English Renaissance. Music, architecture, and the visual arts would all benefit from this explosion of innovation. But by far the most important developments would be seen in the literary, and especially the dramatic arts. Once the preserve of the royal court and aristocratic houses, the early Elizabethan era saw the democratization of drama, which would bring plays to the masses for the first time. Initially staged in the inns and bear-baiting arenas of London's liberties, demand for this new form of entertainment was such that a purpose-built theatre called the Red Lion, the first to be constructed in London since Roman times, was soon completed in 1567. This was followed by the Theatre in 1576 and the Curtain a year later. Soon, aspiring playwrights were flocking to London in the hope of taking advantage of this revolution in mass entertainment. Thus the stage was set for the emergence of the greatest English dramatist of them all, William Shakespeare. The childhood years. The works of William Shakespeare are, without doubt, the most studied and admired in the English language. Indeed, they have inspired such a level of acclaim that, in 1901, George Bernard Shaw came up with the term bardolatry in an attempt to describe our collective tendency to heap acclaim on our beloved verse-maker. Despite this, and the fact that he has been the subject of innumerable scholarly researches and biographies, we actually know surprisingly little about the man himself. In fact, William Shakespeare made only 4 appearances on various official records before he turned up in London in the 1580s, at the time of his birth, his marriage, and the birth of his children. This was not unusual for the time. Lower levels of literacy meant that there was less emphasis on record-keeping and bureaucracy, while in many cases those documents that did exist have subsequently been lost to the passage of time. Another reason for this paucity of biographical information lies in the fact that the fashion for diary-keeping and memoir writing, and the reading of these writings, only began to emerge in the mid-17th century, some 40 years after Shakespeare's death. And even then, no one had the foresight to record for posterity the reminiscences of his last surviving daughter, Judith, before her own demise in 1662. As a consequence, William Shakespeare remains a ghost-like presence in his own story, a shadow that remains tantalizingly opaque. The first puzzling biographical detail we encounter is the question of his date of birth. It has long been agreed that William Shakespeare was born on or close to the 23rd of April, 1564.